And a lot of times we try to compare apples to apples based on what we know.
Right.
But when you come to a foreign country, you have to get rid of one type of apple and absorb the other type, right? And so Ghana, in its own right, has its own challenges only because we're not accustomed to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we're not accustomed to the way of life. We're not accustomed to the people. And so getting to know the citizens of Ghana, the people in the community, that takes on a different role as opposed to me coming and just finding a means and way for myself.
Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Aklevi Joe. This is Diaspora Transition. We are here to ask people their experience so far being in Ghana. And we have our beautiful mother, beautiful sister, beautiful auntie, who is Audrey. But I'll let her introduce herself to us. Then we'll continue our conversation. So, Mom?
What's my name?
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Audrey Appleby, and originally from Jamaica, but I came to Ghana by way of Florida.
Wow.
United
So,
States.
tell us about your journey so far being in Ghana, or what really impacted you to come to Ghana too as well.
To be honest, I wasn't planning on coming to Ghana. And I always chuckle because it's such a interesting story. So a friend of mine, she encouraged me
Yeah.
to just come and visit because she was so excited about moving. She said Ghana is my home. Even before she even decided to move here, she said Ghana was her home. And she encouraged me, just go, just check it out, see. And I came on a whim just to hang out here for a little bit. And then I was on my way to Gambia.
Wow.
I was on my way to Gambia and I came and I never left.
Oh, okay, so you decided to go to Gambia rather. And then
I was on my way to
yeah.
Gambia because I had visited Gambia about the year prior,
Oh, okay.
prior to COVID and everything starting. And so I went to, when COVID hit, I went to Tanzania or Tanzania, depending on who you're
Yeah.
speaking to.
Yeah.
And I stayed there for about a month. I was going to pass through Ghana before I went to Gambia.
Yeah.
So before I go back to Gambia. And then when I got here, I decided not to leave.
Oh, okay, so like, did you had a relative in Gambia before planning of that move?
No, I don't have anybody anywhere. This was a trip I decided to take in Gambia for the first time. And that was in I think it was 2019 when I took the trip just off a whim.
So definitely that was your first African country that you
That
wanted
was
to
my
visit
first,
before you
yes,
came to Ghana.
yes,
Wow.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
so we are so lucky. Ghana is so lucky to the extent that instead of you going to Gambia, you came to Ghana.
I came to Ghana.
Wow. So tell us about the experience so far being in Ghana.
It's been quite interesting. I think you would consider it life, right? Life experience. And a lot of times we try to compare apples to apples based on what we know.
Right.
But when you come to a foreign country, you have to get rid of one type of apple and absorb the other type, right? And so Ghana, in its own right, has its own challenges only because we're not accustomed to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we're not accustomed to the way of life. We're not accustomed to the people. And so getting to know the citizens of Ghana, the people in the community, that takes on a different role as opposed to me coming and just finding a means and way for myself.
Wow. So you made mention of you not knowing the customs of Ghana and also the cultural practices of Ghana and other stuffs. Somebody is watching you, somebody is watching you for the first time on this particular video. Maybe you were able to overcome all these experiences and so far,
Right.
but they are also trying to learn from you. So how did you also overcome that?
So what I did was I allowed myself to do survey. So I have a knack about surveying my surroundings. And so in doing so, speaking to other diasporans that I've met along the way, speaking to the Ghanaian, most of the time you're in a taxi
Yeah.
for the most part, traveling back and forth, and you pick up on little things. Pay attention. You'll pick up on little things, um, and stuff like that. And so little by little, I was able to absorb certain things to understand that, okay, if I look at a typical Ghanaian, they live on a day by day basis,
Okay.
right? So those are the vast majority of the citizens have not traveled, right? So you have 20 to 30% that has traveled, and so they know they have a different outlook on how to do things because they've learned things as they have grown and gotten along.
Okay.
So when you come to Ghana, you have to come with a blank slate so that you can learn and understand who you're dealing with and with whom you're dealing with, sorry, and the environment on a whole. And so we can't ever take anything for granted. Just know that each individual is their own person. You may see some familiar characteristics in some of the citizens, but for the most part, a Ghanaian is a person that I consider a hustler. They're born hustlers.
Yeah.
They're always doing something, whatever it is. If it's to get a CD, they're going to do whatever they need to do to obtain that CD. Now, sometimes I feel like the connection or lack of connection between diasporan and Ghanaian is needs to be fine-tuned. And you will hear it all the time where a diasporan will be leery or guarded in dealing with Ghanaians on a whole because they're always feeling like they're not trustworthy. Right? And so it's only because I feel most Ghanaians, most of the citizens are on a survivor mode. And so the lack of understanding and the nature in dealing with diasporans one-on-one has not been taught, right?
Yeah.
There's a lack of knowledge. And so, a lot of times when you speak to diasporan, they'll say, well, Ghanaians think we have money.
Right.
And it's only because, as I said, lack of knowledge and understanding. So where you may be considered to me as a hustler, as I mentioned, right? And you may look at me, oh, well, you're coming from the West, you have money.
Yes.
But you don't know how I was able to obtain that money and what I had to go through in order to get to the level where I'm at right now, where I can say, okay, I can afford to do certain things while I'm here in Ghana.
Well, in your learning process, I know in every aspect of life, if you are learning something, there is a whole lot of difficulties and so forth. Sometimes there are misunderstandings between even the teacher and also the students.
Correct.
Let's face the reality. Let's talk about this. Sometimes you might have been learning certain things from Ghana or maybe the citizens of Ghana as you being a diaspora. Maybe somebody might provoke you. Somebody might say something, or maybe in case of any price change or something like that, you might feel bad, you might feel angry or anything like that. How did you also overcome all those kind of obstacles before fitting into the Ghana culture?
It's just the learn as you grow process. So learning and understanding. And so you have to do your due diligence. So for instance, if I go to the market, I know that I've picked up where certain characteristics, where a vendor will act a certain way when I'm around versus a Ghanaian, right? And so I've learned to pick up on certain little idealism or certain little twerks where, okay, I'll go say, Madame, how much is this? And then, they'll hesitate to give me the Ghanaian price as opposed to a price that they'll make up just because I'm a diasporan.
Okay.
So things tend to go up. The value of something will go up a little bit more when you're a diasporan as opposed to a Ghanaian. And so you have to work your way through that. So Ghanaians operate on a bartering system.
Okay.
And so bartering meaning, or you have to go and you say, oh, no, I'm not paying 20 CDs. You need to lower that. Oh, I'll pay. Yeah. You got a bargaining, right? So you got to go 15 CDs. No. And you go through that ritual.
Yeah.
And you can either take it or leave it. And so sometimes if you really think about it, If they take off 1, 2 CDs, that's okay. If they take off a little more, that's even better. And a lot of times, I find that certain vendors will even give you extra.
Right.
Even after the bargaining
Yes.
process, they'll
They
give
will then
you
give you extra,
one or two extra
yes,
items.
like buying this and rice and
Yeah,
other stuff. They even add up something small to it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So those are the little things that I get an opportunity to participate in on a regular basis, and it's not so bad.
Okay.
And then there are other times when we stop and think about what it costs for a vendor to actually obtain the products that they're selling. A lot of times they themselves have to go transportation,
Yeah.
going back and forth to different areas, different locations
Yeah.
to get the product so they can bring it and sell it. And so we just have to be mindful and just know when to bargain
Well,
or when not to bargain,
right.
and when to just do our due diligence and just pay for what you need and keep it moving.
Well, you talk about a business-wise aspect. Let's go to the trust issues. I know sometimes diasporas are sometimes understand things. They find it very difficult to understand Ghanaians. That is my experience because I am saying this from my experience. Sometimes you being a Ghanaian, you can explain certain things to the diaspora. He or she is still not satisfied with what you are saying. So you made mention of trust. In this case, trusting a Ghanaian is very simple. Trusting a diaspora is very simple. But what really comes into our mind when a diaspora is dealing with an African or maybe a Ghanaian? Like you dealing with a Ghanaian, what really came or maybe come into your mind in terms of trust?
It is something that we have to learn and grow with, right? It's not first of all, as human beings we're very fickle. And I say fickle meaning we have experienced so many different things in our lives, and each person's journey is different, right?
Yeah.
And so where you are right now is based off of what you've experienced in the past 30, 40, 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
Right? So you become guarded. The other part of this is it's all a puzzle. So the other part of this is the money factor. If you're coming from the West, 9 times out of 10, you have shut off every aspect of what you're doing in the West.
Yeah.
And you're coming here now to live, to strive,
Yeah.
to actually either settle or retire,
Okay.
whatever it is.
Like to start afresh.
Your fresh start.
Yeah.
So you're beginning. So if you have a certain amount of funds, you want to be able to utilize your funds effectively.
Right.
A lot of times you encounter different characteristics and you end up losing in the process because of the way how we're viewed or that person's mindset. So it's a combination of a lot of little things, and there's no way to unpack it all at one time. But I think initially we need to learn to educate ourselves a little bit more about who we are.
Okay.
Right? And so it has a lot to do with a diasporan coming in. They're coming in from a very toxic, probably more than likely a toxic environment, which a Ghanaian may not see. Because the only thing you see is, oh, you've been able to make money. So now you've made money. You come here, you have money to spend, so I want to get that money.
Right.
Right? But they don't see or understand or feel.
They don't know how you felt from the Western world before coming back.
Got it. Exactly.
They don't know how you suffered enough.
Exactly. And it may not be physical suffering. It could very well be a lot of mental suffering.
Yeah.
And that goes a long way. Right?
Yeah.
And so in order for somebody to unpack that, you're in a foreign country, you're unpacking all that emotions, years of pileup of toxicity that you've encountered, and now you wanting to be amongst your people, which is what we do. We say, hey, I'm amongst my people.
Right.
So when we engage, we're not anticipating that there's a blockage or we're deemed as this or we're labeled, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what tends to happen. The labeling
Yeah.
has been stirring so heavy that it takes away from the beauty of us being able to interact as one.
So in this case, let me put it this way. Some diaspora that are coming from the Western world with that kind of mental illness, let me put it this way. I'm not trying to disrespect
No, we're
anybody's
not.
culture or anything
We're,
like
we're
that.
not. We're
With
not.
this kind of mental illness, coming back from the Western world to Africa, to Ghana precisely, you need to put all those mental stress stuffs aside and then start a new life.
Yes.
In this case, you will trust a Ghanaian will trust you. But why is it that some diasporas find it very difficult to put all those things aside?
It's everybody's different. So I have had a lot of negative experience, right? So me personally, I have to, when I unpack certain things, I look at the experience on a whole and the person that I'm dealing with.
Right.
But that's just Audrey. You unpack things differently, right?
Yeah.
When something happens, because I know you've experienced all kinds of stuff with even your Ghanaian people yourself. You have to have a watchful eye in certain aspect. You have to be able to do certain things so that you also don't get cheated or become that person where you're frustrated and things are not working out. So when it's not easy for someone to unpack mental toxic or an environment that they've been brought up in for such a long period of time, it's hard to just throw that away.
Okay.
Because we're humans. As human beings, we're like sponge, we absorb things. And so in order for us to disperse those things out of our system, it has to be a gradual process.
Yeah.
So I'm 5, I get knocked down, I get bullied. So 5, 6, 7, 8. So now I'm 50. That knockdown bully has changed certain aspect about my character in my life, and so I'm guarded.
Absolutely.
So in order for me to dismantle that, I have to dig deep.
Great.
At 50, dig deep into that 5-year-old and figure out how to dismantle that.
In an African dialect, sometimes they say if a snake bites you, when you see a worm, you need to run away from the worm because it also looks like the snake. So you guys are also trying to be very careful.
Yes.
And be extra more careful and so forth. But let's talk about your Gambia and Ghana stuffs. You made mention of sometimes Africans or maybe Ghanaians think that if you guys are coming from the Western world, you bring more money, so they think you guys are rich and so forth.
Right.
Coming to Ghana, because you said you were going to Gambia before you landed in Ghana, did you ever had a backup plan that if something happens, because I know in Africa everything is possible, even if you have like $1,000, you can make it in Africa. But you coming from the Western world to Ghana, did you ever had a backup plan because you plan of going to Gambia and you landed in Ghana? So did you ever had a backup plan in that process?
In any process, you need to have a backup plan, right? And most of the time it's financial.
Okay.
Being able to have the flexibility to be able to say, oh my God, this is not working out, or whatever it is that you're experiencing, it's not working out. So now what do I do? Right? A lot of times people don't know it. Diasporans, they come to Africa, and because of their interaction with certain things and experience, they run out of money. Right? And it becomes a way of where they're stuck. And it's not because of, say, poor planning. It's just that those experiences that they've had consistently and not being able to recover. So as a backup plan, I've always instilled in myself to always have a plan B just in case.
Great.
So I consider myself a fairly decent saver. So if I have 100 CDs or $100, however you want to look at it, I need to project that, okay, at some point I may run out of money. So what do I need to do? I need to at least preserve 25% of that money so that in case anything happens, I can at least have a backup to help me out in case certain situation. But it's always good to have good people around you.
Right.
There's a lot of Ghanaians that are very, very hospitable and very warm, very friendly, and they will open up their doors to whomever. and they will give you the world.
That is true.
And so let's not take that away from Ghana or Africa or anywhere that you go.
Sure.
There are people that are so hospitable, so nice, so beautiful inside and out that they will see you and they will want to help you regardless. And that has happened to a lot of us, where you're right, a backup plan, plan A, plan B, plan C didn't work. And so, so you run into someone and someone is able to assist you to get you back on track.
Well, tell me about your plan B. I want to know
my plan B. Well, I'm just gonna have to right now because I too ran out of money. Even though I'm a saver and I consider myself a very good saver and I'm very good at investing, sometimes you make mistakes. So I'm not building. So now my plan B is to, okay, well, how can I survive in Ghana? Because this is where I have decided that this is my home for right now. So what do I need to do in order to help me to be able to stabilize myself and move forward? And so that's where I came up with the idea of becoming a consultant for land purchasing, property management and project management, which is part of my background. So I've had a lot of experience working in the university setting in the facility side, where I do property management and project management.
Definitely, you are also a builder.
So I wouldn't consider myself a builder, but I would consider myself someone who is able to oversee the construction work that is happening into making sure that things are being done in the right manner.
So let me ask you this personal question. After you failed your plan A, after you failed your plan B, you ran out of money. What came over into your mind? Did you had a thought of going back to Florida? Did you had a thought of going back to Jamaica to reorganize yourself and come back to Ghana again, or what?
No, absolutely not. As much as I love my home country, Jamaica, I find it to be very dangerous. It doesn't sit well with me with a lot of the crime. And I'm not downplaying my country, please. I don't want anybody to come and attack me. You're talking about Jamaica.
It's just a conversation.
It is as such that for me personally, based on history and what has happened in my home country, I prefer to not be there, right? I felt like I love to be in a place where if I just happen to leave my door open for any reason and I accidentally, I don't anticipate anybody coming to try to hurt me or cause any harm to me, right? Not that it doesn't happen, it does, but I feel a little bit more comfortable in Ghana with that respect. As far as going back to the West, I've tried it and I'm not very comfortable with it. I don't want to go back. I don't see myself. It's not a part of my vision, honestly. At this present moment, it's not a part of my goal and it's not a part of my vision.
Well, I would like to talk about your land sales, your building management, or maybe project management and other stuff that you've been doing so far in Ghana. But first and foremost, if I would know how much budget or maybe how much money you budgeted before coming to Ghana, if you would like to share that with us.
I didn't budget.
So approximately.
To be honest with you, I ran away from the West. So when COVID hit, I found myself in a sense of anxiety and I wanted to get away. And so the only country that would open the door, that was opening the doors for us, was Tanzania. Right. And so I ran to Tanzania. It just so happened I ended up quitting my job. I sold my house. I didn't make any money off of none of that. Quitting your job in the West is not ideal because you don't get any benefits. So most of the time when you work you work 20, 30 years, you get your pension.
Your pension pay.
If you quit, you ain't getting nothing.
Right.
So ain't nobody calling you. You're not going to get nothing out of that. So you quitting. That's it. You're done. Right. And so I sold everything I had as much as I could. and then gave a lot of the stuff away. And I just packed what I had left in storage, and I just left. Now, as far as finances goes, I did have a couple dollars saved up, whereby I knew I could manage at least for a year.
Approximately like how much?
I can't say because everybody's lifestyle is different. So I minimized my life to a point where I didn't go anywhere, I didn't do anything for the most part. Because I want to spend my money.
Well, since you are the one sharing your experience with us so far, I will be happy.
Okay, you want a dollar amount? You want a dollar amount?
Yes.
Okay, so I came here, and I don't want anybody to look at me and think that, oh well, that's nothing. But I came here with at least 10,000 US dollars.
Oh, okay.
Right, and I stretched that out into almost 2 years.
Wow.
Because I penny pinched as much as I could. One of the beauties about living in Ghana is the renting process.
Okay.
So when you rent a place, usually it's for a year or 2 years. And once you pay that money up front, then you can budget accordingly. Right? So you have that money, you try to get a place that is accommodating, be able to get at least most of what you need in the space. Once you get that, then the balance of the money you can kind of balance on a month by month basis. And so in between that time, you have to make a decision on what it is that you're going to do. I didn't do that. I took my time analyzing, scoping, trying to figure out what it is I want to do. When you have a lot of skill set, I feel like I have a lot of skill sets. And so wanting to hone in on something that I'm going to be happy and comfortable with, that it doesn't lure me into a position where I feel like I'm stressing or locked in. So when I talk about property management, project management, long-term rental, short-term rental, I'm familiar with those processes. Right?
So aside coming to Ghana for the first time, before even having a thought of going into this property management and also rent management and so forth, did you ever had something in mind that you wanted to do before going into that property management stuff?
Yes, I did.
So what was it?
So I came here with the idea that I was going to continue with. I started a body essential product line while I was in the States, and I was going to use that as my avenue to push me forward once I quit my job, and then I decided to move. I brought all my tools and everything, the equipment and stuff that I have with me to continue on making essential body products and stuff like that. And I still may do that later on, but that was something that I wanted to do. But getting to know who, where, what, and how takes a little time, right? So that's why I didn't pursue it.
Well, tell me about your business so far, your property management, your rent management, your land sales, and other stuff. Tell me about your business. How is business going?
It's picking up slowly but surely, because I really just embarked on it this past July. July was when I actually started. I started my YouTube channel in July, and that's been picking up. Hey, thank you guys.
Guys, as you are watching, please, you need to subscribe to her channel. At least you need to support each other. So as you're watching, you subscribe to her channel too as well. He's part of us. She's an African. So don't worry. She is a diaspora and an African as well. So and also a Ghanaian. So please, I want all the Ghanaians, all the Africans, all the diasporas to subscribe to her channel.
Thank you. So I started my channel, and my channel is based on being very transparent. So when I say transparent, I mean give my audience exactly what I've experienced and what I know or heard of other people's experience, right? So I try to be very open and honest with everything that I talk about or I share with my audience. So that's been helping. And so with that came a few of the land purchases, right? So I was able to get a couple of clients out of that. And now I'm embarking on major and minor projects.
Okay.
So I have a few clients in line that I'm going to be working with.
Okay.
We're going to solidify these projects by February 1st.
Oh, okay.
I should have at least 3 or 4 clients that are going to be working with me, mostly overseeing, making sure that the price points are accurate, making sure that the structure is being done according to the schedule,
Right.
things like that. And so I'm not going to put it out that I have construction background. I have very little. I've been involved in construction for a long time, but I don't want to give the impression that I'm a know-it-all. I don't want to do that. I want the experts to be an expert in their field, but I do have a sense of, okay, what goes where.
So that means you are, I will put it this way, that you are into also construction, also land sales, because I'm also into this land sales and also construction as well. I'm building for clients.
Yes.
And so forth. So guess what? We can be a partner, or maybe we can just go into this partnership. At least we can just work together too as well.
I think so. I think the pot is big enough for everyone to get a piece out of it.
Yeah.
We call it soup pot.
Great.
Right?
Yeah.
So if everyone comes around, if there's a big pot of soup and everyone comes around and have their cup, they can share in that soup. Each person gets a cup enough to, if their cup is filled, then that's satisfactory. And I think if we look at things in that manner, we'll work better together.
That is really a good example. I want to ask you, there is a bridge between these African Americans or diasporas and Africans. You made mention of a pot. So how do we bridge this gap between a diaspora and African Americans, or maybe diasporas and African as well?
Communicate better. Communicate. Stop the lying. Be truthful. Be honest. Be homeful. Be humble. Respectful. Communicate. You called me and you asked me if you could do an interview, right? And I responded.
Right.
And we kept in touch.
Great.
So that we could make sure that we schedule this accordingly. We wanted to make sure that we were doing everything in a timely manner. I gave you instructions. You took the instructions. You were able to find communication.
Right.
If we don't communicate, we would never understand who we are.
Okay.
We are so, first of all, Ghanaians and diasporans alike, we're lost. And I say lost, not in a sense that we're stupid or anything like that. There's a lot of educated people. But we're lost when it comes down to unification. Let me say the right word. Unification, unity, bonding, growing, learning, supporting. We have a handful of people that are very open, honest, humble, supportive, and then the other handful of people that just weighs you down.
Yeah.
How are we able to tip the scale? Communicate. Don't look at me as if I have a bag of money on my backpack, because I don't.
Right.
Look at me as a human being, striving, learning, growing in a foreign country with people who I am ecstatic about, because guess what? You look like me. You feel like me. I want to embrace this. And we only are able to do it on a short scale. Right. We need to have that scale balance.
Great.
And it has to do with education.
Right.
We're not educated enough with each other to know about each other to be able to bond.
So in this case, who is not respecting? In this case, who is not being honest? In this case,
we're all the same. We're all the same. I don't want to say, oh, Ghanaians are not being honest. No, we're all the same. We're all the same. We just need to open our minds and embrace each other with honesty and love. If you see me walking down the street, are you just going to walk past me?
I need to greet you.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So greet me with respect. When you greet me, are you going to have your hand out and say, oh, madam, please? No. Will I have my hand out and say, oh, sir, please?
Yeah.
No. Respect me. I respect you. And we'll be able to unify and get together and have listen, the Western world and the Western people, they have it out for us. If you don't know, now you know. They are gunning for us. They don't want us here. They don't want you. They don't want me. They don't want none of us here. You know what they want? the materials and the resources that this country has to offer. And that's
Right.
all I'm going to say politically. So I don't want anybody coming after me.
Well, my final two questions that I want to ask you. This is just a personal question.
Sure.
You've been in Ghana for more than 1 year now.
Mm-hmm.
You might have experience so far. I need to put you on your toes.
Okay.
You have tasted Ghanaian food, couple of them, local food and so forth.
Very little, to be honest with you.
Well, which one of it can you prepare? Which one of it is your favorite?
I don't have a favorite, and I can't prepare because I've never tried to prepare any. One of the reasons why I'm not a very good advocate about Ghanaian food is because of the spice. Ghanaians put so much pepper into everything. I can't deal with the pepper, bro. I can't do pepper. I don't do well with the pepper. I can't get anything to taste normal. No, I don't like crying over my food.
Well,
I don't like snotting. I like to, when I eat, I want to experience something beautiful.
okay.
If it's too spicy, peppery, I can't do it.
Well,
So I don't have a favorite, and I've never attempted to prepare any Ghanaian food. So I am the worst
of preparing Ghanaian food.
of eating and preparing Ghanaian
Okay.
food.
My final question is, now that you are living in a community, a fancy community, when I was coming, you were
Yeah.
having a whole lot of kids
Yeah.
giving you fans, mentioning your Ghanaian name
Oh my God.
and so forth. I was so happy. I wanted to record it, but because they were in a school or it's kind of a
Yeah.
community, I didn't want it
It's
to
a
also
children's home.
yes, so I didn't want it to also infringe on their rights and so forth.
Right.
So I decided just to look at it and then pass by. They were giving you fans. Like
Yeah.
you being a football coach or football player, you are so popular over here in this community. At least you've been hearing these Ghanaian languages. People have been speaking languages over here, these local languages and so forth. Can you just speak 2 words or maybe say 2 words
Okay.
and explain it in
Okay.
in English for me to
So
hear?
let me make sure I get this right.
Mhm.
All right. So,
Excluding Akwaba.
oh, right. Excluding
Yes.
All right. So let's see. Konobra
Yes.
means to go and come.
Yes.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So that's one. Oh my God. She told me yesterday. Okay. So, and then there's Wapome. Then that's hello.
Yeah.
Memowaha
Yes.
is good morning.
Yes.
Memowa
Mumuaha
is,
is
oh sorry,
good
it's good
evening.
evening.
Yes.
So it's Memowaha is good
Good
evening.
evening.
Memowaje,
Mumuachi.
Memowache
Yes, it's good morning.
is good morning. And Memowa
Muaju.
Memowajo.
Yes, it's good
Okay,
afternoon,
it's
right?
good afternoon. Yes.
So at least you are doing your best since you
Okay.
already have this
Oh my
Ghanaian genes in you now. You are learning this Ghanaian languages very well.
I'm
But just
trying.
that, yes.
What is it? Kakra kakra.
Yes,
Kakra kakra.
that's great.
Small.
That's great. That's great. Nkakra, that's true.
Kakran kakra.
Yes, that's true. Well, you're already a Ghanaian.
Oh
You're
my
already a
goodness.
Ghanaian, so you need to have a Ghanaian passport. You need to have
I
a
know.
Ghanaian citizenship. You don't have to go back to America again. You don't have to go back to Jamaica again. Jamaica is just like Ghana.
It is. And that's one of the reasons why you will see a lot of Jamaicans coming here
Yeah,
and wanting to live here because there's a lot of similarities
great.
in the communities.
Right. What would you have to tell your fans over there? Because I know you're also into business. Maybe you want people to contact you for land sales in Asebu and so forth. People wants to rent from you in Asebu and so forth. Maybe if you like to share your contact details in
Yes,
order for them to contact you too as well. At least we are promoting Africa,
of
so we
course.
need to promote ourselves too as well.
Yeah.
So if you can put your information out there for people to contact you, I'll be
Okay.
glad.
All right. So I'll try to be as quick as possible.
Mhm.
So my YouTube channel is my full name, Audrey Appleby. So when you go on YouTube, you'll pull it up. And I think the last 4 digits are 8351.
Please subscribe. Please,
Yes,
as you are
please.
watching, I'm just putting my hands on my head. Subscribe, please.
Thank you for that. And then also my phone number is +233 59 479 0358. Only serious inquiries, please. That is my WhatsApp number and my cell number. Please, if you are interested in purchasing land, if you've already purchased and you need assistance within the vicinity of Asebu and maybe just a small area outside of Asebu, I can assist with property management, project management, short-term rental, and long-term rental.
Right.
Please keep in mind that all these services that I'm providing, it is a service, and so there's a small fee associated with the service. I just want everybody to understand that when I'm working with Ghanaians and even for myself, that's time being taken, and we don't want to discredit anyone for their time and their knowledge and skill set. So we always want to acknowledge everybody that's participating in assisting you in getting you acclimated into Ghana and or anywhere in the Asebu area or central region, right? So we are here to help you, but please keep in mind that it's a service that we are all providing, and I'm very transparent, and I try to give you as much details as possible with anything that you have required of me to do.
Great. As you are watching, like I said, Africa is full of possibilities.
Yeah.
Even the Bible says it. With God, all things are possible. Africa is God, so all things are possible. Pack your bags, move to Africa. I'm telling you,
Exactly.
just pack your bag, move to Africa.
Yes.
You're gonna make it. With only $1,000 or maybe $500,
Yeah.
you will make it in Africa. So what are you waiting for? Just come, Aklevi. I'm there for you to help you in everything that you want to do. Since my mom is here, my auntie is here, pack your bag and come to Africa.
Please do.
As you watching, you keep sharing our video, you keep contacting us, you keep subscribing to our channel too as well. We are one people. Do not let anybody change your mindset towards Africa. Africa, the key to the world. Bye-bye.